February 22nd, 2025, my review of Leviticus 17, 18, and 19 for reading the Bible in a year chronologically. Let's see, what stuck out to me is all meat must be presented to the Lord. Any bloodshed even must be done. And they're talking about bulls and goats, but if you're killing a bull or goat, you have to present that as an offering to the Lord as well, so that the Levites would get their portion, and they would use that blood, that life-giving blood, to splatter the altar, and that would be an offering to the Lord as well as an offering to the Levites for survival, to eat and everything. And if you're hunting, you have to drain all the blood out of it. The blood, life is in the blood. We don't drink it or eat it, and that's a commandment. There is life in the blood, and the blood of Christ died and shed for us. No sacrifice to false idols, obviously. That just goes without saying. If we're sacrificing to false idols or anything but God, it's really Satan. If we're all the other gods are just Satan trying to convince us that we don't follow the one true God, right? That's the whole point of what he's trying to do with that. Life through the decrees of the Lord. Life through, what was I thinking there? Interesting. If you obey my decrees, my regulations, you will find life through them. So I am the Lord. There's life in doing these things. Some of them are very, very smart to do. Some of them don't make a whole lot of sense, especially with what we're going through right here. Some of them are ceremonial, but some of them are just good advice because God made us and he knows what we are and how we are built. Just like sex. Sex is a very important thing. There's a lot of rules on where you can have sex, or not where, but who. Like if you do not have your sexual relations with your father's wives, with your mother, with your daughter, granddaughter, it's like, be smart about that, right? It's way easier to say monogamous relationship with one woman, a wife, and treat her with due respect. And sex is meant as a covenant between a man and a woman, a wife and a husband, that is a gift from God. That's the way I see it. It doesn't say all that, but it gives us lots of, hey, don't do this, don't do this. Let's use sex in its appropriate manner. It's a gift. And all those other ways are defilements of that gift. Don't defile yourself by committing any of these detectable practices. And they were committed by the people living in the land before them. Then we get, you must be holy because I, the Lord your God, am holy. Then we get into observing the Sabbath day of rest, which were meant for rest. And then Jesus put it that the man was not made for Sabbath, but the Sabbath was made for man. In other words, we were made to have that rest. We don't need to honor a day because of the day's sake. It's the day of rest for us. It's given to us, and it's good for us. There's another one. Okay, so when we're doing the peace offering, you do it properly so you will be accepted by God. It must be eaten on the same day you offer it, or even the next day if it's the peace offering. Whatever is left over until the third day must be completely burned up. And you talk about the third day, makes me think of Jesus. And on the third day he rose. There's only 2 days in the grave, and on the third day he rose. He was no longer in the grave. Again, because it had to be complete. If any of the sacrifice, okay, yep, we're skipping that. He cares about the poor. God says, do not harvest the grain along the edge of your fields. Do not pick what the harvesters drop. And same thing with the grapes. Don't strip every last bunch of grapes, but leave them for the poor and the foreigners living among you. So that's the way you give to the poor, is allow them to come glean food from your fields at that point. Don't steal, obviously it's a good thing. Don't deceive or cheat another one. Don't bring shame by the name of God by using it to swear falsely. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. Don't use it flippantly. God's name is holy. We don't want to use that improperly. The name of God, the name of Jesus, Jehovah, those are all just perfect and awesome. And to use that with another term. Please don't do that. And the name of God is holy, and it should be kept as holy. And the devil has perverted it. Anyway, don't defraud or rob your neighbor. Duh. Love your neighbor as yourself, right? That's the first and greatest commandment. Or second commandment. First is love your God. Love your God with your whole soul and mind, something like that. Anyway, the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. Don't make your hired workers wait till the next day to receive their pay. So don't hold back for them. Don't hold it over their heads. Don't insult the deaf or cause the blind to stumble. Don't twist justice. Be nice to people. Be good to people. Do not spread slanderous gossip. I mean, this is just simple, easy stuff, right? Don't stand idly by when your neighbor's life is threatened. Stand up for those that are being oppressed. Stand up for somebody that's being robbed. We have a right to defend ourselves and defend others. We have a calling to do that right there. That's a good example of that. Take action defend the poor. Defend the defenseless. Do not nurse hatred in your heart. Confront people directly so you do not be held guilty for their sin. Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge. Forgive. Do not mate two different kinds of animals. Do not plant your field with two different kinds of seed. Do not wear clothing woven from different kinds of threads. And I've heard there's some, I'm not getting into that. If a man, there's another, let's see. Leave the fruit unharvested so when you enter a new land and plant fruit trees, leave the fruit unharvested for the first 3 years. Consider it forbidden and do not eat it. In the 4th year, the entire crop must be consecrated to the Lord as a celebration of praise. And then in the 5th year, you may eat of the fruit. Wow. If you follow this pattern, your harvest will increase. Again, if and then, right? Don't eat meat that has not been drained of blood. Blood has life in it. Don't practice fortune telling or witchcraft. That's, again, reaching out to familiar spirits. That's basically Satan and his demons. It's evil. Those familiar spirits, when they're trying divination or witchcraft, that's evil. Don't do it. I don't understand this hair on your temples or trim your beards or do not cut your bodies for the dead. So, okay. So they're referencing the same thing with tattoos. They're referencing a pagan worship, basically, a worship only God. Do not defile your daughter by making a prostitute. Keep my Sabbath days of rest. Again, we talked about that. Don't turn to mediums, consult the spirits of the dead. Don't do that. Again, that's Satan. Don't take advantage of people. Don't use dishonored standards. Be good, be a good person, be a good human, all right? So, again, that's what I get out of Leviticus 18, 19, and 20s tomorrow. 17, 18, 19.